Hello everyone, welcome to the PEPP Talk. This is Sibi Satyan. In the first part of Russia-Ukraine crisis, we already discussed the history between these two countries and the involvement of America. Now let's talk about the trade and business side of this war. Before that, I suggest everyone to subscribe this channel, like, comment and share among your friends as well. After many years of economic struggle, the leadership of President Vladimir Putin finally ensured that Russia is now seen as an energy giant, becoming the world's third largest producer of crude and second largest producer of natural gas. Now Russia has around $630 billion in foreign exchange reserves, which would make them a formidable economic force. Russia depends on Europe for its revenue, and Europe depends on Russia for energy. Russia is supplying about one-third of European natural gas consumption and a quarter of its crude oil import. Germany is one of the largest recipients of the cheap energy from Russia. The US was not very happy with the growing influence of Russia in Europe and its dependency on Russia for energy, especially Germany. We should remember that the two world wars started with Germany. How America wins the war without firing a single shot. Here comes the catch. Earlier, Russia used the corridor of Ukraine to supply oil and gas to Europe. By 2011, Nord Stream pipeline was commissioned, which inflicted an annual loss of $720 million in transit fees on Ukraine. And it increased the energy dependence of Germany on Russia. Now, Nord Stream 2, which is an expansion of the Nord Stream pipeline, was approved by the German government and the construction is completed. But the final approval is delayed due to the pressure from the European Union and the US. With this war going full-fledged, the US expect that the commissioning of Nord Stream 2 would be delayed indefinitely. They hope Europe will be forced to look at other avenues for energy supply and will reduce their dependency on Russia. The US and its allies in the European Union and the United Kingdom imposed the toughest financial sanctions ever on Russia after the invasion of Ukraine. They agreed to block some Russian banks from SWIFT, a global financial system which will prevent these banks from doing any global transactions and trade. They have taken actions against some of the big corporate houses based in Russia also. The idea behind this sanction is to cripple Russia financially. But anyway, Russia has developed its own international trading platform named SPFS. If they strengthen the system, it will be a setback for the US also in the long term, as the dependency on the dollar in the international trade will be impacted. Some people perceive this war as a failure of Joe Biden's foreign policy. But the fact is that the US is the lone victor in this game without spilling a single drop of blood and without wasting a single bullet. Their tactics made Russia a villain, Ukraine a victim, and themselves the winner. Ukraine is the sole loser. As you may be aware, Ukraine is called the breadbasket of Europe as it accounts for 12% of global wheat exports, 16% of corn and 18% of barley. They are the largest exporter of sunflower oil in the world. This means this war will impact everything in the world. Crude, natural gas, gold and stock markets across the globe are the initial casualties. The global semiconductor industry is expected to be impacted in a very big way. The price of food grains will go skyrocketed in Europe. Among many others, another sad news is the price of beer is also going to go high because Russia is the second largest producer of barley, the primary ingredient of beer, and Ukraine is the fourth largest. It means we have one more reason to pray for the end of this war. As a sovereign republic, Ukraine is in its complete right to join the NATO, to have good relationship with the US, to accept military funding and to do trade with the countries of their choice. But then, life is not fair, politics is not fair, and the powerful people will decide your fate at the end as always. India's diplomatic goof up. Now, India's stand on this war is also widely discussed. India is actually in a very tight spot. In the recent times, India is having very close ties with the US in terms of diplomatic relations. Both the countries look at the growth of China with suspicion and its interest in the Asian region and beyond, and its border issues with us, India. But Russia is a long-term ally India cannot forget. Since independence until the end of Cold War, it was Russia who was always there for India. If the Soviet submarines were not there during the time of Bangladesh war to stop the American and British naval fleets that came for the aid of Pakistan, the end result of the war would have been different for India and Bangladesh. Apart from this history, what worries India more is the growing proximity between Russia and China, which has the potential to destabilize the interest of India in this region. That's what made India to abstain from the voting in the UN Security Council twice. Of course, that was not the course of action India would have taken in any other similar situations. But for the larger good and to protect its interest, it is important for India not to weaken its ties with Russia, especially the Russia under Vladimir Putin. The situation India facing right now cannot be called a diplomatic blunder, but it was a weakness, a goof up India failed to foresee. Let's hope the war will end soon through discussions than bloodshed, agreements than chaos. See you in the next episode of Pep Talk with a different subject. Sibi signing off.